Hello, welcome to my channel. This video is going to be me going through all of the Christmas books that I have ever read. I haven't read that many books. I have read, I think, like around 25 ones. But essentially, I really wanted to do like a recommendations video where I recommend to you books that you should read this holiday season. But I realized that I haven't read that many so that I can actually recommend enough to you. I would have to recommend, I don't know, maybe 5 books. And I feel like that was not great. So I decided that I'm just gonna go through every single holiday Christmassy book that I have read, and I'm gonna let you know my thoughts about them, if they are negative, if they are positive, how I felt about it, if I even remember it. So yeah, let's get started. We're gonna start with the first book that I ever read, the first Christmas book that I ever read, and that is Window Shopping by Tessa Bailey, which is actually kind of surprising. I didn't realize that this was the first Christmas book that I ever read. Our female main character, she's an ex-prisoner, an ex-convict, and she's now out of jail and she's trying to find a job, but it's kind of hard for her because obviously she was in prison, so a lot of people don't really want to hire her. She always had this thing about window displays. She runs into this Christmas window display. There's like a stranger there that asks her what she thinks about it, and she starts going in. She's like, this is awful, it looks so bad, I would change everything about this, blah blah blah. And the stranger that is saying that to ends up being, I think, like the owner of the shop, or kind of like the CEO of the business, something like that. So he ends up being like, okay, I'm gonna hire you, make it better. So that's the plot of this book. It's a very short book. It's like 250 pages, which, thinking about it, I guess it's not that short. But I feel like some Christmas books nowadays are like 400 pages, 500 pages, and I'm like, that's not needed. We don't need that. But this one, I actually really enjoyed it. I feel like it has taken some negative reviews throughout the years, but for me, at the time that I read this in 2021. I really enjoyed it. It was a really fun one. It was a very quick one, and I do think that it's actually one of the best Tessa Bailey books that I have ever read. So I would actually recommend this one, especially if you like the reverse grumpy sunshine trope, because she's the grumpy one and he's the sunshine. So I really enjoyed reading that too. The second book is The Mistletoe Motive by Chloe Leese. I think I have read this actually like twice now. Yeah, I have actually read this twice. I read it 3 years ago, 2021, and I have also read it like a year ago, and I really liked this book. At the time that I was reading it, I didn't realize that Chloe Leese had other books too for some reason. This one feels very different cover wise, but I really enjoyed it, and it's so cozy. It's about a bookshop. We have these two bookshop workers, and they're not really a fan of each other, let's say, but the bookshop is going under because it's an indie bookshop. So obviously there's a lot of big chain bookshops opening up, and the owners of the indie bookshop are like, okay, we cannot really keep going like this. If we keep going like this, we're gonna have to close the bookshop. So our two main characters take it upon themselves to try and stop that, and also they make this deal that whoever actually ends up saving the bookstore, that person is gonna stay on the job and the other one is just gonna quit. So it's really fun seeing them really not liking each other and seeing him being kind of cold, but at the same time, if I remember correctly, it does have some acts of service in it, and it has a bit of a quiet love. I always love reading about books that have the male main character notice things about the female main character that are just small, but they make such a big difference, and that's what happens in this book. And also I love the representation that she does. There's like a sort of health representation in this one. I'm not gonna say what, because I think that we don't learn about it until the end of the book, so I don't want to spoil it, but I really loved how it was done in this one. And it's, again, a very short book. It's 185 pages, really easy to read. Highly recommend this book too. And then I have The Holiday Switch by Tiff Marcello. Here's the weird thing about this book. I gave it 4 stars, so obviously I really enjoyed it, but I don't remember it. I remember it kind of. I remember the whole premise of the book. Essentially, we have a female main character. She works in this souvenir shop, and then there's the male main character, the guy character. I'm pretty sure that this is young adult, so they are both younger, obviously. So the male main character also starts working in the shop, but he's not really happy about it. So essentially, while they're working, they put their phones in this particular place, in this shelf, let's say, and then accidentally they end up grabbing each other's phones. And I honestly don't remember anything else. I remember that I really enjoyed it and that it was really easy. It is another shorter one. It's under 300 pages. So I would say if you like young adult books, pick this one up. If you don't like them, maybe don't, because it did feel very like you were in school and it's Christmas break. It did feel a lot like that, but it was an enjoyable, fun read. I wouldn't read it now, but back then I really liked it. Then we have another novella, which is 89 pages. It's tiny, and that is Booked for Christmas by Lily Menon. But I really like this book. For 89 pages, I think that it did a great job with the characters and with the romance between them. We have a female main character. She is a writer, and she has this critic. There's this critic that always talks about her books very negatively. Now the thing is, we don't know who that critic is. We don't know like how he looks like. I don't know if we know his name. I'm thinking that maybe we don't. She decides to throw a holiday party, but that critic ends up showing up at her holiday party as a +1, and they end up being stuck because it's snowing really bad. So they get stuck there, and obviously that sounds really great, so that's why I picked it up, and I really enjoyed it. I really liked it, especially for 89 pages. I feel like with such a short amount of pages, it's really hard to make you connect with the characters and make you feel interested in them. I'm not gonna say that I still think about this book. I never think about it, but I remember that I read it and I really enjoyed it, and I really love the premise of it. So like, it's first proximity, rivals to lovers. It was really enjoyable. Then one of my favorite holiday romances I have read is "'Tis the Season for Revenge" by Morgan Elizabeth. This is the first book in a series. I think it's like 4 or 5 books in the series. I haven't read the rest of them. I have read only this one, and it was so good. I think that it was so hyped the year that I read it. It's an age gap romance. We have our female main character, and she's dating this guy. He's a really bad guy. He's trying to change her. He's talking negatively about her, and I don't remember if he ends up cheating on her. I think that he ends up cheating on her, but I'm not 100% sure. Anyways, they break up, and somehow through a dating app, she ends up going on a date with her ex's boss. Tell me that that doesn't sound incredible. At first, I think that she does it for, oh, that would be kind of like funny if I were dating his boss. But then she actually realizes that his boss is incredible, and I loved it so much. Even the whole third act conflict, it was so good. I felt so attached to the characters, so attached to our female main character. It was incredible. Highly recommend this book. I haven't read anything else from this author, but this one was incredible. The writing was so easy. The characters were so good. Highly recommend this one. The next one is a book that I don't remember necessarily, and that is Faking Under the Mistletoe by Ashley Shepherd. I don't really remember what this is about. I mean, I remember the premise of it, but I don't remember how I felt about it. It's a workplace romance, and I think that that's why I picked it up. It was after I read The Hating Game, so I was like, oh, I need more workplace romances, and they don't really like each other, and I think that they're having to work together to throw like a Christmas party or something like that. I don't really remember it, but I remember that by the time that I finished it, I didn't care about it that much, and I haven't thought about it ever since. So I would actually not necessarily recommend this. It wasn't for me, and I think the fact that I just don't remember it really shows that. So I wouldn't recommend this one. Then I have Tangled in Tinsel by Trilina Pochi. This was, I'm pretty sure that it's like a reverse harem. Yeah, and this was just full of spice. It's 280 pages of spice. It's like a girl and 4 guys, and yeah, it was entertaining, but to be honest, it didn't really give me the holiday spirit. It didn't make me feel like it's Christmas. I didn't really care about it. If you're looking for a very spicy book, maybe pick this one up. And also there was, if I remember correctly, there was one guy that was kind of always just watching, and I don't know, it felt kind of weird. I didn't love it. It wasn't the spice that I love. I also don't love when the book is only spicy. So I didn't really love this, but if you're looking for a spicy book, maybe pick this one up. Another book that I really love is Baggage Claim by Juliana Smith. This is the first book in the Aspen Picks series. There's a second one that is out, and I am planning on reading it this year. This is so good. We have a female main character. I think her name is Olive. Her name is Olive, and she's going back to her hometown, which is something that she has been avoiding. I'm not gonna say why, because read the book so you can find out, but she has been avoiding it for years, but she kind of doesn't have a choice anymore because her family is like, if you don't come, we're gonna come to your house, we're gonna come to your city. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna come. She ends up going to her hometown, but she actually lies and says that she has a boyfriend. So obviously her parents are like, oh, bring him with you. And she's like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna bring him. The thing is, she doesn't have a boyfriend. So on the way there, on the plane, she literally meets this guy that obviously is going to the same place as her. She tells him what is going on and he's like, okay, bet, I'm gonna be your fake boyfriend. So we see them having fake dates because her parents are like, oh, you should go on a date with him. You should go on a date with him while you're here. So it was so awesome. It was so fun. The whole reason why she hasn't been back, when we learned that, I was shocked. We also learned a lot about her and her insecurities, let's say, and it felt very comforting to see things that I have thought, see them in a character and seeing that character also succeed and find a guy that they love and a guy that is amazing. So I really love this book. It's definitely one of my favorites. It was really easy. It really got me into the holiday spirit. I cannot wait to read the second book. Again, highly recommend this one. And then we have My True Love Gave to Me by a lot of authors, but it's edited by Stephanie Perkins. I bought this book almost a decade ago, I want to say, because I read, while I was in high school, I read Vienna and the French Kiss series by Stephanie Perkins and I loved it. So I was like, okay, let me buy another book from her. And she didn't really have any. She only had this one, which she has a story in it, but it's not like a full book by her. But I decided to buy it and it's basically 12 short stories. Wait, one, two. I just realized it that the couples that it has on the ice rink in the cover, they are 12, one for every single story. Just realized it. Love that for me. Then I had it on my bookshelf sitting and never picking it up because I'm not a short story kind of person. I like novellas, but those are still usually above 50 pages and I'm pretty sure that its novella in here is less than 50 pages. Like, there are novellas in here that are 15 pages long and that's just not my cup of tea. But I decided finally pick it up because I wanted to remove it from its physical TBR. And to be honest, I was right. I didn't love this. It wasn't for me. I don't remember which novella it was. Out of the 12 novellas, I only really liked one of them. Maybe the second one that I don't remember, but there's only one novella that I remember. So it wasn't for me. I knew it going into it. I had already bought it. So there was nothing that I could do. I wouldn't recommend it, but at the same time, I feel like if you like short stories, maybe give it a chance. If you don't like it, obviously, don't give it a chance. It wasn't for me. I'm not a short story girl. Like I said, I prefer if it was like one whole story. So that's that. And then a book that I love, and I'm pretty sure that I read it 2 years ago, I think. Yeah, I read it in 2023. It's The Christmas Swap by Talia Samuels. Incredible. Get this. We have a female main character and she ends up fake dating a guy, going back to his hometown, his like parents' house, pretending to be his girlfriend. And over there, she meets his sister and the sister is hot and the sister is incredible. The sister is her perfect girl and she ends up developing feelings for her. It was so good. I really enjoyed it. It was so interesting. I haven't heard anyone talking about this, so I don't know why that is, but it's, if you're looking for like a sapphic romance, this is so good. I would highly recommend it. Again, another book that I really loved, and it was also really easy to read. And then after that, I ended up reading 8 Perfect Hours by Leah Lewis. This is a very hyped book, and to be honest, I don't know the reason why, because it was so bad. This is probably one of the worst holiday romances that I have ever read. It was so boring, and if you were like me and you didn't actually realize that by the title, it takes place in 8 hours. They end up falling in love in 8 hours. What do you mean? This is instant love times 10. It's not even like, oh, they fell in love in a week. No, they fell in love in 8 hours. I hated this book and it made me not want to read anything else from this author. I get that maybe like other books might be better, but no, this was so bad. Don't recommend it at all. Even though it was very popular a couple of years ago. No, it's bad. It's really bad. And then we have Resting Scrooge Face by Megan Queen. This is again a novella. It's 80 pages and I actually really enjoyed it. It wasn't anything crazy. Actually, I think that I listened to the audiobook of it because I had Audible back then and it was just an easy book to listen to. It's a second chance romance and there's like letters that they exchange without knowing to who the letters are going, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. Then I have Almost Like Being in Love, and this is also another book that I really hated. This is by Soraya Wilson. Thinking about it, this is magical realism. I think that this is actually the first magical realism book that I've ever read. Interesting. But I didn't like it. I don't remember why I didn't like it. I think that it was just instant love again and I didn't really get it. It was kind of interesting. Essentially, I feel my main character, her car breaks down and She ends up walking or something to a place. She finds a place, and that place is actually from a century ago or something like that. And it sounds interesting, but I didn't really enjoy it. I also listened to the audiobook of this one, I'm pretty sure, because I just didn't like it. I wasn't interested in the characters. I didn't care about them. And even though it had potential, it just never reached it, and it felt like an instant love. And I think that it was trying to make it work, but at the same time, I think that the whole thing took place in 2 days or something. I'm like, why? So that was not for me. Then I was apparently on a kick with reading bad holiday books. I read Sometime Next Year by Tessa Bailey. Not for me. This is a marriage of convenience. The male main character, he's a player, a hockey player, football player, some sort of player, sports player. So his visa cannot be renewed. By the new year, he needs to go back to Canada. So the female main character is like, oh, let's just get married. I didn't really like it. I didn't care about them. I think that was like the issue that I had. They had potential, but I didn't care about them as characters. I didn't care about them staying together. I don't think that I love the female main character. I think that Tessa Bailey tried really hard to make her act like a badass and very confident and stuff, but it didn't feel natural. And I don't even remember the male main character. My memory card was full, so I'm sorry if the angle changed. But the next book that I'm gonna talk about is This Is Not a Holiday Romance. We are now officially in the books that I read in 2024. This is by Camilla Isley, and it was really, really good. It was essentially a holiday romance. It was a romantic comedy. It's really fun. The only thing that I have with it is that it wasn't that Christmassy. I feel like it felt more like a romance book with a sprinkling of Christmas, but it was very enjoyable, especially if you like the sort of hating game era, because it was kind of childish. The characters are kind of childish, but at the same time it was kind of enjoyable. I would highly recommend the audiobook for it. So if you're looking for a very fun, silly, no thoughts, just vibes kind of book, this is it. Then I read The Merriest Misters by Timothy Janowski. Okay, this started off great, but by the end of the book, I was like, what the heck is going on? This is, again, I think it's considered like a magical realism book, but it wasn't for me, like, at all. It felt kind of weird at the end of it. It's a male-male romance. I'm pretty sure that the marriage is not going great. And one night actually, Santa ends up just landing on their roof, which is so weird and bizarre, and I feel like too much. Like, the magical realism aspect of the book was just too much, and I didn't love it. It was still kind of fun. I don't regret reading it, but it was a bit much for me. And then I read The Christmas You Found Me by Sarah Morgenthaler. This was so good. It's a single dad romance, and it's a fake marriage, fake dating sort of situation. Basically, we have a female main character, and one day her friends, as a prank, put this ad on the newspaper. She's looking for a boyfriend, fiance, something like that, and obviously it's a joke, but there's this guy that ends up actually using it and be like, I can be your boyfriend. So she tells him that it was a joke and it's not an actual ad. They start talking, and she understands that he has a little girl that needs insurance, and he does odd jobs here and there, but there's nothing that can actually offer him insurance. So she's like, okay, actually we are gonna get married, so you can benefit from my insurance. The whole book, it was so wholesome. I love the characters, I love the plot. She has a ranch, I think it's called, like farm maybe, and that was also so good. The little girl was great. He was so nice. He was kind of like a golden retriever type of guy. He always was trying to help her and do everything he can to help her, and the whole book was just like a warm hug. I really loved this book, and it made me really want to read more from this author. Highly recommend this book too. And then I have Time to Shine by Rachel Reed. I didn't like this. I don't remember this book necessarily. I was actually scrolling through my list of holiday romances that I have read, and I saw this book and I was like, oh, fully forgot about that one. We have our two male main characters, and they end up being teammates in the same hockey team. They also end up being roommates. I just didn't love it. I didn't love the writing. I have read one more book by Rachel Reed. I don't know if I read it before this or after this, but I haven't liked either of them. I don't know why, because I know that a lot of people love these authors' writing, but it's not an author for me. I'm not gonna tell you to not pick it up because it has really good reviews, and also I know that this author is a very well loved author. It just maybe the writing is not for me necessarily. I feel like a lot of times while I'm reading male romances, they end up making it very like physical, and it's not so much emotional, and I want to see the feelings. I don't want to see just the spice. That was the biggest thing with this book and in general with this author. But if that sounds interesting, give it a chance. Then I read The Gift Rarely Given by Ambar Cordova. Again, a really bad book. I read the majority of these books in a 24-hour readathon that I did last Christmas. This was not good. I was happy that it was only 160 pages, but I didn't enjoy it. I didn't care about the characters. I didn't really love the male main character, and the female main character was also not my favorite. I didn't care about either of them. So I would definitely not recommend this book. I picked it up because I liked the fact that it was about a plus size woman, and also the cover is really cute. It wasn't for me. Then thankfully I read a book that I really loved, and that is Dashing All the Way by Chelsea Curto. This is the first book that I read from Chelsea Curto, and I am so happy that I picked it up. This is an age gap romance. Our female main character, why do I think that this is an ex's dad? Yeah, it is ex's dad. So she ends up breaking up with this guy, and he told her that she will never be able to run a marathon. So she's like, okay, bet, I'm gonna prove him wrong. And she ends up actually meeting this guy, this older guy, and they end up hitting it off. It starts, I'm pretty sure, as like physical, and then there's emotion, but I loved how it was done. I loved the male main character. It sort of felt a bit similar, like similar vibes to Tis Decision for Revenge by Morgan Elizabeth that I already talked about, and I really enjoyed it. It made me want to pick up even more books by Chelsea Curto, and I read this in December of last year, and now 1 year later I have literally read 5 more books from this author. Another book that I have never seen a single soul talking about is When the Fake Snow Falls by Heather Garvin. This was incredible. Essentially, you have a female main character, and she goes to this coffee shop to get a coffee, and the guy, I think like in front of her, maybe behind her, I'm not sure. Anyways, there's this miscommunication, let's say. He ends up leaving his number in a receipt, and our female main character thinks like, oh, he left it for me. No, he did not. He left it for the barista. And she ends up texting the number. They end up actually talking, like texting back and forth. She's like, okay, since the number was not meant for me, I'm gonna keep my distance a tiny bit. I'm gonna try not get attached. But he hits her with the offer of being his fake date to this work thing. So essentially they formed this friendship, and it's obviously also fake dating, and I really enjoyed it. I give it 4.25 if I remember correctly. It was so good. I have never heard anyone talking about it. It's barely 300 pages, and it's one of the best holiday romances I have ever read. I loved it. It was so fun. It felt so realistic. It felt like I was reading about real characters. And then I read All I Want for Christmas by Maggie Knox. Awful book. I don't even want to talk about it because it was so bad. I hated the characters. I hated how they acted with each other. I hated the male main character. It was so bad. It is a very low rated book. The average rating is 3.17, and I knew going into it that it was going to be not my favorite, because obviously the average rating, there's a reason why it's so low. I did not expect to hate it that much. I remember that I could not keep going, at the same time wanting to finish it for some reason, just to be done with it, because also at that point I wasn't really DNFing books. That was not a thing that I was doing. So I was like, okay, I need to find the audiobook for it. I could not find it. I could only actually like buy it. I had Audible at the time, so I used the whole ass credit to buy this book just so I can actually finish it, and I was rage reading it. I hated it. They would talk and I would want to punch them. I hated this book so much. This book and this one, the worst holiday romances I have ever read. So as you can tell, I do not recommend that book. And then another audiobook that I listened to on Audible is How to Lose a Guy Before Christmas by AJ Pine. Gonna be honest, don't really remember it. I'm pretty sure that it's she needs to go home and he needs to go home, and there's this snowstorm, so there's no flights, but apparently they can drive, so they end up going together even though they're strangers. And it wasn't like bad necessarily, I just didn't care about it. it. I didn't feel attached to the characters, and it was at the same time kind of insta-lovey. So definitely not my type of book. It was still like a fun short book. Then we have an Ali Hazelwood book, and that is Cruel Winter with You. I actually gave this 3 stars, maybe 3.5. But the reason why I didn't fully love this, even though I love Ali Hazelwood books, even if they're shorter ones, is because this is extremely short. This is 72 pages, and I think that even if it was 100 pages, it would have been even better. I don't think that it's a bad book. This whole thing takes place, I'm pretty sure, in one night. You can understand how that's not my favorite thing in the world. I hate instant love, like I have said a bunch of times. But this was still good. I still liked it. It's just once I finished it, I knew that I wanted more. That this should have been at least 100 pages, and that's why it's not higher rated. But I still gave it 3 stars. I still enjoyed it. It's about 2 old best friends, and now they don't really talk, they don't really like each other, but they end up spending some time together throughout Christmas Eve, I think it's something like that, and they're kind of starting to talk and understand what happened. I didn't feel that attached to it, and that's like my issue with it, but the writing was good, so there's that. And then the last book that I have is Chilled and Thrilled. This is the first book in the Daddy Issues series by Cleo White, and I really liked it. This was actually really good. I had a lot of fun with it. It's not my favorite thing. I read it more so because I was in a reading slump, and this is the sort of fast-paced, spicy, but still has some sort of plot going on, but at the same time not 100% great sort of read, and that's why I read it, and I really enjoyed it. It was really fun. There were some things that I didn't love about it. For example, she has 2 best friends that are sisters. She actually works for their dad. It's about the romance between her and her best friend's dad. Like at the end, obviously the 2 best friends are gonna find out, oh, you're in a relationship with her dad, and how they acted, how they reacted, I guess, was not my favorite. It didn't feel realistic like at all. That was not realistic to me, but I did like the premise, and it was a fun book, and it did actually help me get out of my reading slump. So yeah, those are the 25 books that I had to talk about. I hope that I helped you. I hope that you found some books that were actually really good, and maybe I helped you not pick up some books that are really bad. That's all I had to say. Hopefully next year I'm gonna be able to actually do holiday romance recommendations, because I really want to do that. I really want to read more of them because I love Christmas. It's just sometimes you can get burned out from reading holiday books, but I still have so many popular ones, but even not popular ones that I haven't heard people talking about that I want to get to. So hopefully next year I'm gonna have more books to talk about. But yeah, that's all I had to say. I hope that you liked this video, and I hope that you'll see my next one. Bye! You give me butterflies when you smile, and it feels so good.